All right, welcome to the third Strength Life, number 3. The first two were on, mental health and things like that. And I did say I'm going to expand these and not just focus on mental health, focus on more powerlifting related things or really anything. So I put up a Q&A on my Instagram story earlier this week. And of course, like I expected, it didn't take long. I got a question on PEDs or performance enhancing drugs. The question is, this is going off memory, the question is, what's my experience with PEDs, if any, and, who should and shouldn't do them? Now, I can answer the first half of this question really easily. What's my experience with PEDs? My experience is fantastic. Love it. But that's not what I'm going to go into. What I want to touch on is more so who should and shouldn't. Now, I definitely want to start this off by saying, this is a bit of a touchy subject for a lot of people. And there's a reason for that, right? The reason people don't go into their cycles most of the time, they don't tell you what they're taking, and, they might just make jokes about, being enhanced or not, is because in most countries this is illegal and it's still very taboo. So I don't think there's anything wrong with hiding or not being super open about the fact that you are on performance enhancing drugs, as long as you're not lying to people and saying you're natural. I think that's where the big issue is, right? When you're giving people false hope and going, yeah, I squatted, I put, 50 kilos on my squat in 6 months naturally. Like, that's where I really have an issue with it. Again, I don't think you need to explicitly say, I am on these drugs, but I think people should be open and, not be leading people along, pretending they are natural. But let's get started. So first of all, second of all, I'm not advocating PED use or drug use at all. In the end, we're all individuals and you're all adults. You should be an adult. And you can make your own decision, but I would never sit there and tell someone, hey, you should get on anabolics. It's great. I actually do quite the opposite, and I'm usually talking people out of it. These things do have long-term repercussions, which we'll go into. So I don't think, anyone should be like, yeah, jump on drugs, they're great. It's like, I'm not going to tell you to sit there and smoke an ounce of weed a week, right? I'm not going to sit there and tell you to get drunk. In the end, it's a personal decision. I can't help it if you want to do this, but I would definitely never recommend it. Always, I'd say, if you care about health and longevity, you want to do things naturally, and you can actually go really far without the use of drugs. And that's in your personal life as well, though. I'm not going to sit there and tell you to go take pingers on the weekend and go to a rave and party. I'd probably steer you away from that. Now, the big thing is who should and shouldn't. Well, a lot of this is going to be who shouldn't, right? Because I don't think many people should. I don't think people should be jumping on drugs, which might sound a little hypocritical, but it's not. You just want to you want people to live a long, healthy life. And anytime you mess with your biochemistry, your body's chemistry, I don't know if that was the right word, your body's chemistry, things are bound to happen and go wrong. It's just the nature of the beast. But definitely people in tested sports. So, I've touched on this a fair few times in different podcasts and stories, but people in tested sports, whether it be powerlifting, whether it be bodybuilding, whether it be sprinting or rugby or footy, should not be messing with drugs and PEDs and things that, that are on the WADA list. The reason being is, I think if you're trying to, and if you ever told me, hey, Anthony, I'm trying to take this and pass this drug test, I'd call you out, I'd say you're a piece of shit and you're doing the wrong thing, and I'd probably name and shame you. I'm very against cheating. So that's the thing about powerlifting, though, is you have to be even worse to try to cheat in powerlifting, because we do have so many untested federations. So first of all, again, if you are a tested lifter or a tested athlete, you have no business messing with PEDs ever, and you should probably be looking at what supplements you take as well, just to make sure you don't get any fails for silly reasons, something in your pre-workout. But that's a big one. If you're a tested lifter, don't do them. If you have that option to compete in an untested federation, like in strongman, bodybuilding, powerlifting, then by all means do so. That moral reason is gone. But that's a big group of people that shouldn't ever look at doing it. It's tested athletes. Cheating is wrong, and it always will be wrong. That's why there's powerlifting federations and bodybuilding federations that don't test. The other one is a big group of people that shouldn't be doing it are people that just want to look good. So it's one of those things, right, where people always want to fast track their results. And it can be hard, doing things naturally and organically. But if you just want to look good for yourself and you want to look good at the beach or for photos and you're not like doing any bodybuilding or anything where you need to take it to be competitive on those untested federations, then don't, try to fast track that with steroids, anabolics, PEDs. You can look really good naturally, and it's actually not as hard as you may think. You don't need to be 110 kilos to look good. My best mate Tyler looks good at 90 kilos. He looks good at 80 kilos. He's really lean. It's more down to diet and just consistency with that. You can train for a year or two and have a really good physique that people are going to be jealous of without the use of drugs. Just look at drug-tested powerlifting in Australia. We have some amazing, amazing physiques in this sport, and these people have never touched a drug ever. So again, if you're just wanting to look good, completely rule it out. It is not worth the toll it takes on your body. Now, let's get into people that, maybe you're a candidate and you're thinking about it. Well, there's a couple things that, you should really be looking out for. Again, some people are really lax with, hey, this is fine, just take it and, you'll probably be fine. And I'm not one of those. This should be a very big decision. It shouldn't be something taken lightly. This should be something you're thinking about for years and years before you do it. It's not a weekend drink up with the boys. It does have long-term repercussions, no matter whether you're doing a lot or a little bit. But people that might look at doing it are people that are going to be competitive and want to be competitive on a high level in their chosen untested sport. And by that, I mean, it's, everyone knows that they make you stronger and they make you more of what you are. So, if you look amazing and you jump on PEDs, you're going to look even better, as long as you keep training hard. I'm not going to lie and say you need to train harder. That's not the case, but that will make you, if you're strong, you'll get a lot stronger. What they're not going to do is turn you from a average, local level competitor to a all-time world record holder. That's not what these things do, and you can take as much as you want, and your health is probably going to suffer and make you stop a lot faster than you will be the best. So you should be looking at and have the prospect of being competitive in your chosen sport before you decide to jump on these. Now, that doesn't mean it's reserved for the best of the best and people that are going to be all-time world record holders. But, if you're blasting insane amounts of gear or any gear to be competitive on the local gym level, it probably isn't worth it. Or at least if you ask me, it definitely wouldn't be worth it in that circumstance. The other thing is, you got to make sure you've been lifting for a long time. Now, this isn't make sure you're lifting for 10 years and you're 27 before you do it because you got to earn your right. It's not about that. What it is about, again, is these have very real repercussions, very real health consequences, very real mental consequences, and you want to make sure it's worth it for you. And everything's worth it for you when you're 19, right? Because you don't have that foresight. Everything's worth it for you at my age, at 27, because we don't have that foresight. But you want to make sure that if you look back, if you did have some health problems, and you look back, or you do mess your body up a bit, you look back and you go, hey, that was worth it. I was really committed to what I'm doing. So when I say lifting for a long time, I mean, make sure you're lifting for 5 years plus, and make sure you're really involved in the sport, and make sure you're not just going through a fad, right? I see a lot of people that are lifting for 8 months and they're like, I'm going to be the best powerlifter or the best bodybuilder ever in my weight class, and I want to jump on drugs to kind of fast track that. And then you talk them out of it, and 6 months later, they're not lifting anymore because they got bored and they started doing jiu-jitsu, which is fine. But if they had made that decision to jump on drugs and then, they stopped 6 months later, well, they've done potential damage to their body for a 12 or 14 month stint in a sport they didn't really care about. So again, make sure you've been lifting for a while and involved in your sport for a while before you do go down that avenue, because you want to make sure it's something you're committed to and you're going to be doing long term. Otherwise, it's just not worth the risk. And again, the last thing is just remember, there's no free lunch. Really, really simple. borrow a little bit of extra gains now, a little bit extra strength, and there's a very real chance that you're giving it a little bit later on in your life. Now, I'm not fear-mongering. I'm not saying if you take anabolics, you will die at 40. Like, I don't believe that. I believe you can do things smart. But, again, there's a reason that, you're getting your blood work checked a lot. You're doing a lot more cardio. You're taking care of your health a lot more because you are damaging your health. And it's just kind of accepted. And you can reduce that as much as possible, and you can really try to take care of yourself. But the chances are, there's going to be short-term and possibly some long-term repercussions to this. So you just need to go in knowing that. And again, not fear-mongering. Like, you're not going to do it and drop dead, but you might have health complications in the future. You might not. Everyone knows that person that lived to 90 smoking a pack a day. And everyone knows that person that died or has emphysema at 50. So it just comes down to whether it's worth it for you. I would never recommend it. But if you did, I would recommend you work with someone and you do it as safe as possible and as smart as possible, and you don't just go doing as much as you can, as fast as you can. That's not the smart way to do it. Again, there's a smart way and a dumb way to do things. I'd say the smartest way to do it is to just not do it, but just make sure, if you do, you're taking care of yourself. A little bit of a controversial topic. I've never really openly talked about PEDs. I'm still uncomfortable with it. It's one of those things where, because you never want to feel like you're encouraging people to do something that might damage their health. But then you don't want to be a hypocrite and say, and lie or say, no, don't do it, it's the devil. So I think this is a happy middle ground. Now, on today's lifter of the day, I'm actually not going to put someone's list up. I mean, I might put some of these lists up. I haven't edited it yet. But I'm going to put my boy Tyler Seabrook, and I hope he doesn't mind being in a video about this subject. But the reason I'm putting Tyler in is he has an absolutely phenomenal physique for a natural athlete. He's been training now for 8-9 years. He's been, done nationals in powerlifting. Now he's transitioning to, trying to do some more physique stuff and whatever his goals may be with that. But I wanted to really just showcase that this is a body a lot of people aspire to and want to look like. And he's done this clean. He's done this without drugs. It's just a lot of consistent hard work and eating. And the thing is, he's not even super meticulous about his eating and his training. That's the thing. When you're natural, you can get away with taking a week or two of training here and there and, missing some meals. So again, I'm showing Tyler because one, he's really strong, but two, he's got an absolutely insane physique and he's never taken anything on the, WADA, ASADA list. He's never tried to take any shortcuts or anything. He's done this, just through hard work and looking good. And, he's only 93 kilos and he's really lean in the mid-80s, and he's got a physique most people would aspire to through their whole lifting career. So you can do this without drugs, without PEDs. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of hard work, and patience. Thanks for watching, guys. These are actually doing really well. I'm excited to branch out now into different subjects. I'm curious as to how the response will be on this one. I've got a lot of tested lifters that follow me. Got a lot of untested lifters that follow me. So this will be interesting. But yeah, don't just start putting chemicals in your body because you want to be a little bit bigger and stronger. It shouldn't be that simple of a decision. It really, really shouldn't.